So, 70s output of Rush began with Rush, this debut album, and like so much of Rush's output, I am drawn to the um, artwork of the covers. You know, it seems to me that back in the day, in the 70s, etc., artwork was as much a part of the album as the music. You've only got to look at the Led Zeppelin albums to confirm that as well. But anyway, Rush, the debut album featuring Neil Rutsey on drums at this point. Fantastic tunes, Finding My Way, you know, Working Man, of course, In the Mood, Take a Friend. Absolutely wonderful, raw album with Zeppelin overtones. Yeah, a very, very Zeppelin influenced album, but absolutely brilliant. You know, it really, really kicks some ass. Great album, love it. Brilliant for a debut album, I think. Then we have Fly By Night. Again, what an absolute epic cover. Love it. Um, Anthem, Beneath, Between and Behind, the wonderful an epic, crowd pleasing, and concert favourite by Tour and the Snow Dog. Fly By Night, of course, Rivendell in the end. Absolutely brilliant album. I love this album. And it also was the first to feature Neil Peart on drums. And as we all know, he was brilliant with the songwriting as well. Which brings me on to Caress of Steel. Yes, the infamous Caress of Steel. Gotta admit, again, did buy it for the artwork. But Bastille Day, loved that. Think I'm Going Bold in Lakeside Park. I must admit, I thought, wow, these are good tracks. Excellent. The album's going to be pretty good. But I was sadly mistaken, and the album went rapidly downhill from there on. You know, we're going uh, into the Necromancer suite, which ends up with Return of the Prince, then the Fountain of Lambeth, Bacchus Plateau, Dyad Axe and Narpits. Sorry, guys, it wasn't for me. And of course, that was the album that made the record company say, well, look, guys, if you don't produce the next album that actually sells and interests people, then we're pulling the plug. And thank God they did, because they came up with the absolute legendary 2112. Now, this is the 40th anniversary set. But, you know, what can be said about this album? You've got, obviously, the opening overture, the Temples of Syrinx, Discovery, you know, grand finale, absolutely blistering guitar work on this. Fantastic. It's just like side one alone, I could just listen to if I didn't listen to anything else. But you do have a wonderful side two with A Passage to Bangkok, which I first heard many, many years ago and had not a clue what the subject matter was about. But it's a great track. Twilight Zone, Lessons, Tears, and Something for Nothing. All of these songs are brilliant, 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 and this album did really well. And it is just, it's legendary, isn't it? It's part of it. It's just a legendary album by Rush. You know, if you're a fan or if you mention Rush, it's that album. It's going to be mentioned. So yeah, fantastic album, kick-ass album. That brilliant. So after 2112, we get A Farewell to Kings. Now, this album is brilliant in itself. The title track, the opening track, Farewell to Kings, I mean, it captures the mood. It really does have that feel of medieval times. The writing, that for that song alone, by Neil Peart, the writing, the beginning of the track with the acoustic guitar, just the whole track is brilliant. The subject matter, everything, it's just great. Um, Closer to the Heart, of course, Cinderella Man, Cygnus X1, which will follow on into Cygnus X2 on their next album. But it has one of my all-time favourite tracks, Xanadu, not to be confused with the Jeff Lynne composition performed by ELO and famously Olivia Newton-John. As much as, it's okay, I'll listen to it, I'll confess to that, Your Honour. But this Xanadu is just absolutely mind-blowing. Again, the lyrics by Neil Peart, the musicianship. What can you say? These guys were epic musicians. Fantastic stuff. Great album. And finally, Hemispheres. The last 70s album, the last fully progressive, maybe, album. And that is, as I say, Hemispheres, or as it's known in my household, the Bare Bottomed Man album. So what do we have on here? Cygnus X1 Book 2. We've got, of course, the Hemispheres Suite Prelude, Apollo, Dionysus, Armageddon, Cygnus, the Sphere. Then we've got the excellent Circumstances with some French language thrown in there for good measure. The wonderful The Trees, brilliant. How could you ever dream up something so clever as that? What a great song that is, about trees, arguing with each other. It's just brilliant. And of course, the epic La Villa Estrangia. Wonderful, wonderful, brilliant, super kick-ass album. I know it was a real effort and an epic for these guys to put together. I think that was the moment then they decided, that's it now for these sort of albums. And then, of course, we go into the 80s, which I'm hoping to do on the next video. Anyway, I hope you don't mind. I hope you didn't. I hope you enjoyed, rather, the brief scoot of the 70s albums. And I hope to see you on the next one, and then hopefully cover the 80s, 90s, right up to the end. So thanks again, guys. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.